What's poppin', SatAttack Squad? It's your boy SatAttack. When y'all see the title, man, I don't know which videos y'all react. I kind of want to watch this. The CCTV footage captured Relentless murder. And my brother put me on to this YouTube channel, so I be watching Mr. Ballin' all the time. So my brother put me onto this. Yeah, these titles sound crazy. The horrific discovery in the walls of the restaurant. What the hell? The girl who came back from the dead. What the hell? Nah, we're gonna check this one because this is the shortest one. This one's 20 minutes, but we're gonna check this one out. It's got footage of it. But I want to eventually watch this one though. Eventually. But that's guy on the road 2K, man. My brother put me onto the channel. I subscribe to him. His Coffee House Crimes. They got 1 million. Okay. So it's well known.
Northeast London captured the ominous actions of Jordan McSweeney. After multiple failed attempts to follow his targets, Jordan set his sights on Zara Alina, and what followed was nothing short of a nightmare. But who was Zara Alina? Why was this terrible man following her? And what happened after?
Let me know.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, folks. My name is Adrian, and welcome back to Coffee House Crime. Today we're looking at the case of Zara Alina. Now this story is something straight out of a horror movie. There are no words to describe the senselessness of this case, or to describe our killer. By the way, I post true crime and strange cases here on a weekly basis, so if that does sound like your kind of thing, please consider subscribing to the channel. Even watch the videos, does help me out. And now, with that said, please grab yourself a coffee, pull up a seat, and get ready for the deep dive. This is the case of Zara Alina.
Zara. It's actually scary how scary the world is. It really be scary as hell, bro. There's creeps everywhere, bro. Like, everywhere.
Folks, today we set our sights on the northeastern corner of this city.
I go to the gym at night all the time, and I see creepy ass people all the time, bro. Like, that's
large town named Ilford. Found 9 miles away from central London, Ilford has always remained part of modern London's rich and turbulent history. The town rapidly expanded in the 1940s after the central tube line service was expanded into Newbury Park, and thus its population peaked in the year 1951 at 185,000 residents. Of course, this was just after World War II, where Ilford became an instrumental town to the country's military. During this time, it manufactured components and equipment for the war, including shell cases, aircraft parts, and electrical radio equipment. But all of this would come at a price, because Ilford was well targeted by Germany. Over 1,000 residents were killed after 6 long years at war, with roughly half of those from air raids and bombs. Nowadays, Ilford has no distinct economy, and is primarily commercial and retail, surrounded by residential developments. It also serves as the main transport corridor between London and Essex. In recent years, Ilford has become one of the most multicultural towns in England, and as such serves some of the best food found near London. And this is pertinent when it comes to Mediterranean.
I haven't traveled around the world, so I don't even like
fish and grill, all the favorite spicy meats.
One
of those families living in the area for many decades was the Alina family. Today's story is all about the life of Zara Alina, and aged 35 in the year 2022, Zara was described as the carefree spirit with the most caring heart.
When was it? My bad, I'm sorry.
In the year 2020. Today's story is all about the life of Zara Alina, and aged 35 in the year 2022, Zara was described as the carefree spirit with the most caring heart.
This happened last year?
She was born in the winter of 1986, having grown up in the area. Her grandparents had moved from Pakistan in the year 1968 and eventually had 5 children. As the first child to her mother, a single parent, Alina was blessed to be raised by multiple generations in the household. They gave her all the love, support, and education she needed. This included many trips around England to museums and galleries, and eventually across Europe too. Much like the rest of her family, she became an avid traveller. She loved adventure and always wanted to experience new things. As a child, she was happy, excitable, sociable, interested in almost everything around her, and always seemed full of energy. She took up ballet, tap dancing, swimming, and dressing.
I like how they're giving us a history of it. Says it right here, life of Zara. Hey, I like it. Give us the Jordan. Is that the killer? Jordan McSweeney? I liked it. I like how this videos Like, you give your
and
life
was
of the
especially
victim,
gifted in ice
life
skating.
of the
Zara always knew what she wanted
killer,
to be, even from a very young
story.
age. And at the age of 5, she said she wanted to become a lawyer. And you know, that aspiration became a reality.
Lawyer?
According to her family, nobody worked as hard as
That's
she
too much
did.
school for me.
And
I'm
not
sorry.
only had she
Lawyer?
become a law graduate,
I hate
but she
school,
also
bro. To be
supported
fucking a
refugees
lawyer or a
fleeing
doctor?
violence and was working towards becoming a fully qualified solicitor. To
I
add to
hate
this,
school, bro.
Zara also volunteered
Always
in
have.
soup kitchens to help refugees and the homeless. She had great empathy for people less fortunate, and something Nero would greatly appreciate, but she was a massive lover of cats too. Alongside all of this, she also cared for her mother and grandmother, ensuring they had food, medication and company. Put short, folks, Zara
Love
did
it.
very much good for the world. Moving into the year 2022, Zara had completed a legal practice course to finally practice as a solicitor. She had just started working for the Royal Courts of Justice, keen to complete a 2-year work placement in order to become a fully qualified solicitor. We're moving to the evening of June 26, 2022. It was a warm evening here in the UK, with temperatures reaching 20 degrees Celsius or 68 Fahrenheit. Zara arranged to meet a friend at a local pub named the Great Spoon of Ilford, and after having dinner and a drink or two, the two moved on to another bar in the local area. With midnight fast approaching, Zara decided to keep the evening clean, deciding to drink water instead of alcohol, and focusing on the conversation as the evening's main highlight. Spending the Sunday evening with her friend, she had done absolutely nothing wrong. She was simply a happy, healthy young woman living her best life in London. However, while all of this was happening, more sinister events were simultaneously taking place. Unfortunately, as much as I don't want to, this is where we have to bring the video's attention to the man named Jordan McSweeney. Jordan has to be one of the most unlikable characters I've come across. I usually bite my tongue and keep my opinions to myself.
Damn, this is the first video I've seen a coffee house. So, damn, this the most. What did he say? The most unlikable
characters
character
I've come across. I
Damn.
usually bite
I
my
looked this
tongue and
up
keep
then.
my opinions to myself, but this has to
Knock
be
that
said.
punch.
The man is a total psychopath and a complete narcissist.
I'll knock him out.
Jim selfies aside, Jordan
cap.
was a meathead. He liked bare-knuckle punching, often got in fights, and the women around him
she
usually
would've
avoided
seen me.
him. 29 years old at the time of this story taking place, Jordan already had 28 convictions under his name, for a grand total of 69 crimes that dated back to the year 2006.
Damn.
These
Like, what the
For a
fuck?
grand total of 69 crimes that dated back to the year 2006. These crimes range from racially motivated offences, driving offences, and assaulting police to battery and assault causing bodily harm. He
Damn.
began his criminal career as a teenager, which may be a sign of the dysfunctional family that he once endured. Unfortunately, Jordan suffered violence and sexual abuse as a child.
Damn.
Though nothing he was deprived of in terms of love, boundaries, or safety could begin to justify his actions and attitudes as an adult.
Never.
Facing prison was no deterrent for the man, because, put quite simply, he grew up in it. And prison was his home for most of his young adult
Damn.
years.
That's tough.
On June the 17th, 2022, Jordan was released from
These
custody.
are the type of suspects all the time. Like, there's
After
always people with bad upbringings or whatever, but like,
Portion of his sentence.
They-
And 4
like,
days
you could see the
later,
patterns
he went
coming
to
from a
live
mile
with a
away.
friend in his caravan, which was found in a fun fair in Valentine Park in Ilford. Jordan was obligated to attend appointments with the probation officer as part of his release. However, as you can likely imagine, he failed to do such a thing. As he would have been told multiple times, breach of this condition would lead to his arrest and return to prison. This led to his license being revoked on June the 24th. However, as you can see, he was still prowling the town 2 days later.
fuck you want
Jordan
like
had
that?
spent most of his Saturday night getting plastered at the Great Spoon in Ilford. He spent most of his time here pestering women, getting into arguments, and eventually got kicked out at 11 PM after harassing a female member
how is he not banned from that spot?
staff. After walking north in the direction of Cranbrook Road, Jordan began his hunt for a victim. Now, this is where our story begins to get dark. Mind you, this was only after almost getting hit in the face by a bus. As you can see in this
Should've got
footage,
hit by
he
a
was
bus.
what us
would have fucking been better anyways.
would say completely off his tits. And just after almost getting hit by this bus, he almost had a fatal encounter with a car. Shortly after midnight, a surveillance camera caught him stalking this unknown woman. With his clear lack of composure and shamefully drunk behavior, she noticed that she was being followed. Running into a nearby shop, she hoped that she would lose him. But after following her inside, Jordan left the shop to wait around the corner for her. After cautiously exiting, she left the shop to the right, where once again he followed closely behind.
No.
The woman
Don't tell me this is Zara.
Sprinted away down the side street.
Oh, she's
Yet
gone. Good
still,
shit.
Jordan followed her with a stride. Thankfully, after 21 minutes of being stalked, she was able to outrun him. But this didn't stop Jordan.
Damn, imagine being her though. Like, I'm sorry for pausing, but the same night you got away from a stalker, someone else, I'm assuming he finds someone else that same night and does what he was supposed to do to her. That's crazy, bro. To think about.
Instead, he decided to find a new target.
That's what I'm
Jordan
saying,
wandered the
bro.
streets for a whole extra hour, getting into various short altercations with women, all who rebuffed his actions.
How he not get arrested yet, bro? It's like what? How he not got arrested for the night yet? Bro's been around causing problems to women all day, all night.
He found his next target. He followed her into Northbrook Road and beyond over the course of several minutes.
Oh, look bad.
Interesting side note, but two other men on the opposite side of the road became aware of this,
Nice.
but did nothing to intervene. Now, thankfully, shortly after 2 a.m.,
I get it. You probably think it's like a boyfriend or something, but like, come on, man.
became aware of his presence, gazing up at him as he almost walked into a lamppost opposite the road.
God damn,
Although not
bro.
captured on camera, Jordan then overtook her and turned into one of the houses in the nearby street. It is believed that he was waiting to surprise and grab her, though luckily she happened to be making her way to a house on the opposite side of the road and was able to enter it safely.
Nice.
Although these two women were very lucky to escape, it sadly wouldn't be the same for Zara Alina, who at the time was leaving the Champs Sports Bar on Chapel Road nearby.
Bro, is out there, bro.
Because she lived nearby,
Y'all should have called someone or someone reported that fool, bro. Y'all getting stuck.
decided to walk instead of get a taxi. And so, after
Y'all
saying
should have
goodbye
called
to her friend,
911 and just kept walking and them kept following y'all and you would have got arrested. I know that's not. I know you panicking, so you're just trying to be safe and shit like that. You're not really thinking about all that. But think about it, that would have probably been the better play.
short journey back
But you're just trying to get away from him, so I understand
a few
not
moments later, she would
thinking like not
tragically
a
cross
strategic
paths
crime,
with Jordan McSweeney, and this would prove to be a fatal coincidence because she was selected as his next target. Jordan followed her for some distance, getting to within a few meters of Zara until she reached a house on Cranbrook Road. The property had an expansive paved front
How long was he
garden
following
and a
her? I'm
driveway.
sorry.
Out of respect
Stop talking.
and not going into the details, it is here that he sexually assaulted her. She was rendered unconscious, beaten to within an inch of her life. Over the space of 9 minutes, he then left her body to return twice, and in all 3 instances, he stamped on her numerous times. He then carried away her phone, keys, purse, leggings, and underwear, all of which would be later found abandoned nearby. Jordan then tried to make his way back home discreetly, but was captured by over a dozen cameras in doing so. This included him scaling a locked gate, before walking around a well-guarded boathouse and lake. At 2:38 a.m., the camera captured him walking towards the fairground he was staying in. Arriving at 2:47 a.m., he briskly walked across the grounds, trying to avoid any attention. The following day, Jordan was spotted by another camera at the fairground, where he then disposed of his bloody clothes in a bin near the ticket office. Zara was found a short while later by a group of 4 strangers. They immediately called an ambulance, where paramedics tried to treat her fatal injuries. A helicopter raged above, trying to find her attacker. Despite everything being done in their power to save her, Zara tragically passed away at 10 a.m. after 5 hours of intense surgery.
Yeah, I knew that was gonna happen. Like, just the way the video's been going.
Sadly, too much damage had been caused. The list of pain is extensive, as sadly, she had suffered 46 separate injuries, including severe blunt force trauma, lacerations, and bruising. Now, during the assaults, Jordan used a balustrade to
she had to suffer through all that, bro. I promise you, she was wishing she would just go like right away.
Zara, stupidly leaving his fingerprints behind. And thankfully, those fingerprints were already in the police database. And on June 27th, only 37 hours after his terrible actions, the man was arrested in his fairground caravan.
Jordan.
Bro gonna get arrested and go back to where he's been at, bro. Bro deserves worse than that.
Jordan McSweeney?
Still appearing entirely inebriated, Jordan failed to respond to his name being called numerous times. The lights were on, but no one was home.
You're under arrest for rape and murder of a female at Cranbrook Road, okay, on the 26th of June 2022 in the early hours of the morning. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned something you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. Do you understand? Stand up. Alright, okay? I got
God damn.
Come forward. Just going to search you now, alright? Yeah.
As you will be aware, we are investigating the tragic murder of a woman in Ilford in the early hours of yesterday morning. I can confirm that pending formal identification, that we believe the victim to be a local 36-year-old woman named Zara Alina. Resources from across the Met are being drawn upon to help us identify whoever is responsible, and the murder investigation is developing quickly. Our priority is to catch the perpetrator as soon as possible. For that reason, there are some aspects of the investigation that I won't be commenting on, and I will not be taking any questions. There will be further information that we release to the press and the public as soon as possible. We are keeping Zara's family up to date with our progress, and my heartfelt condolences are with them at this terrible time. They are being supported by specialist officers, but I cannot imagine the pain that they must be feeling right now.
That is
Zara's
so crazy to
family
me.
and
That the
friends.
fact that that boy was stalking 2 other people, and then she just happened to come out or whatever, she came out at the wrong time, worst time, bro. And now she gone, bro. That is crazy to me, bro.
Distraught to discover she had passed away. There was no warning or prior cause for concern. She had been taken from them in an instant.
Yeah,
Much like in an
okay.
instant, their worlds were placed upside down.
That's
The post-mortem
some bullshit.
revealed
And
that
that dude
Zara
gonna go back
had
to
died
prison
of a
like,
traumatic brain
come on,
injury,
man.
prolonged neck compression, and blood loss. And of course, the details were too much for many to bear. Evidence left behind on Jordan highlighted that she had fought back hard, but with his height, weight, and strength, she realistically
That's all you
stood
could do in
little
that shit is
chance.
fight
The
back.
public reaction to this case was strong.
I'm
Dozens of flowers and
clapping for the fact that she fought back. Like, there's nothing else you could have done at that point, bro.
candles were placed where she'd been attacked,
You just
and the
had the
movement
worst-
Million
you just
Women
had the
Rise
worst
backed
luck
Zara in
possible.
full spirit. Her murder sparked national outrage, though arguably not enough, as other cases such as Sarah Everard and Gabby Petito received a much louder voice. Still, hundreds took to the streets to demonstrate their support, and as the details of her killer became public knowledge, came a growing demand for justice.
Zara is the latest name to be added to a list of women who have been attacked and tragically lost their lives.
We have to have a conversation with men, with leaders, with our government, with educators. We need to have a conversation about what we're going to do. This is about changing the mindset.
Zara believed women should be allowed to walk the streets and feel safe. Her family are now determined to make that her legacy.
Well, tomorrow a vigil is due to take place here at the scene in her memory, and people will be retracing her final steps in the hope that it encourages witnesses to come forward. Today, a 29-year-old man appeared in court charged with her murder. He is due back in court in September.
To add to the mountain of evidence already placed against Jordan, police officers would soon find his blood-stained shoes and jeans in the caravan park. And if that wasn't enough already, they would soon learn that the entire assault against Zara had been recorded by a neighbour's security camera. It remained clear throughout all surveillance footage that he held no care, no regret, and no contrition to his terrible actions. But now, the judge and jury would have to decide. After his arrest and arriving at the police station,
Put him with
Jordan
the worst inmate or
claimed that
cellmate
he was on
ever.
medication for ADHD and also suffered from split personality disorder. He also claimed that he'd been bitten by a dog, but refused treatment from medics. And in addition to this, he began to threaten all officers at the station. To add to his obscene levels of audacity, when questioned about the murder, he yawned loudly and told the officers that they were boring him. His behaviour was not acute from drugs or drinking either. In 3 separate interviews conducted over the following days and months, he expressed complete disrespect for the situation. Put short, the man simply didn't care. Moving into the legal proceedings of this case, Jordan McSweeney had at least one slither of respect for his victim. He pleaded guilty to the assault and murder of Zara Alina, and in exchange for his guilty plea, his case would not go to trial. But Jordan wouldn't go down without causing more grief and disgust to all of those involved. Not wanting to revisit the events he was responsible for, he refused to be present for his own sentencing. The judge remarked that, although there was no sign of planning or premeditation for murder, Jordan sought a vulnerable woman to attack. Now, let's not forget
He
that
shot 3 other people that night. He was planning.
had been in trouble with the law before too. And although this was his first conviction of a sexual nature, he had already been in trouble for violent behavior. This included violence to previous partners throughout the last 12 years, and many disturbances while in prison. Although Jordan claimed to have ADHD and a personality disorder, no psychiatric report was ever produced for him, as he never requested one. However, it was noted that he was someone who struggled in the community, and had genuine difficulty in making and maintaining a healthy social life and relationships. The judge further remarked that his antisocial upbringing and the abuse he suffered as a child held no real excuse for his terrible crimes, and he bears full responsibility for his actions. As such, Jordan McSweeney was sentenced to life imprisonment, a mandatory term here in the United Kingdom, with a minimum term of 38 years behind bars. During his sentencing, the judge said, "The defendant's decision not to come up from the cells to court to hear the devastating impact of his crime shows that the man who took Zara Alina's life has no spine whatsoever." To further add salt to the wound, it was considered that the time Jordan had served between his arrest and sentencing was considered to be for his previous offence, meaning his minimum sentence of 38 years began on December the 14th, 2022. This means that the earliest time he can ever see the light of day again will be in the year 2060.
With 26D?
The light of day again will be in the year 2060.
26D. Okay. The boy deserves
One
longer
of the
than that,
largest
though.
side
She
notes
better
about
not
this
get out. What the hell was the thing? 2060? He better not get out to begin with. What the hell? That's a minimum, but that should minimum should be lifetime. What the
Now
hell?
the justice system
He should not even
ultimately
get the
failed
chance.
Zara. Much like the case
Wait,
of
what's
Eve
this now? How the justice system failed Zara.
about this case is how the justice system
38
ultimately
years.
failed Zara. Much like the case of Eve Carson, existing holes in the system allowed Jordan to slip through the net during his probation, and in turn gave him the opportunity to murder Zara. It was admitted that probation services began recall proceedings on June the 22nd after he violated his probation conditions and missed 2 meetings. However, the police were only notified about this on June the 24th, which were 2 days after recall proceedings began. They paid his property a visit to arrest him the following day. However, Jordan was not in at the time, and with no sense of urgency around his arrest, he remained free in the wild. Zara was murdered 4 days after recall proceedings began, and 2 days after he was supposed to be arrested.
Bruh.
Proceedings began, and 2 days after he was supposed to be.
Bruh. Oh my god, that is so dumb. Bro, oh my god, I don't even know what to say about it. That's like, what?
Why was this murder allowed to happen?
That boy was to be arrested 2 days ago.
To add to this, with a number of crimes, convictions, and disturbances on his profile, Jordan was obviously a repeat offender. So, why was he allowed out on probation in the first place? In a cruel twist of fate, Zara had become the victim of a crime she often spoke about with friends and family. She advocated for women's safety, a strong woman who spoke out for those who couldn't. She felt safe taking the short journey home through Ilford. It is easy to see why she felt safe. She was walking in a safe space surrounded by security.
I'm sorry. That's hella far.
Easy to see why she felt safe. She was walking in a safe space surrounded by security cameras. To add to all of this, it was a hot summer night here in the UK. With many of our houses not fitted with aircon, windows would likely have been open, which means it's likely that people must have heard her screaming, yet thought nothing of it. Being attacked like that in someone's front driveway was extremely overconfident of Jordan. Yet somehow, nobody was able to intervene. It's a harrowing thought when you think about it. Now, Jordan had the advantages of strength and surprise, but in everything else, Zara was better than him. She was
the people that did hear it now know that she she's gone and shit like that, bro. Y'all gotta live with that, bro.
It's a harrowing thought when you think about it.
Yeah,
now,
bro,
Jordan had the
on the
advantages
driveway.
of strength and surprise, but in everything else, Zara was better than him. She was talented, spirited, intelligent, and kind. People often worried that Zara had
crazy.
way too much on her plate, when in reality, she had so much to give. She looked after her mother and grandmother, volunteered at local food shelters, and made friends with everyone she met. Even months after her passing, her family found small gifts she'd already bought for far-off birthdays.
Damn.
She was a listener, and a thoughtful one too. And now that she is gone, her absence leaves a void that is impossible to fill. To wrap things up, I feel there is no better way to end this story than with the words of her aunt. Since June 2022, our lives have completely changed. We have lost faith, we have lost confidence, we have lost joy, and we feel broken. We are disconnected from ourselves and from each other. We are not okay. We are prisoners of a narrative that has been thrust upon us. We have lost a part of ourselves. And then, in the midst of that, we are angry. We want change. We want other women to be safe.
I don't feel sorry for us, even though we have this huge gap in our lives, this huge hole, and our lives will never be the same. I feel sorry that she lost the rest of her life. This is about a young woman who lost everything, and about a society who lost somebody that was giving, who lost somebody that was powerful, who lost somebody that wanted change, who lost somebody who was good.
And sadly, thus concludes the end of our story today, folks, which, to be honest with you, was quite a tough one. Moving forward, I hope that Zara's family and friends find the peace and comfort they deserve. Thank you so much for being here with me today for another video about Coffee House.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro. That is crazy. The fact that that dude was out, he should have been arrested 2 days prior at least. Sheesh, that's fucked up, bro. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy people everywhere. Y'all gotta be careful, man. Going out like that. Going crazy late night. I don't even know what time it was. What time was it? What time did that happen? He got home around like 3 a.m. So I'm assuming that was around like 10, 11. That's not even that late because he did what he did. He left and came back 3 times. Got home around like 3 o'clock. So I'm assuming that it's not even that late. But the fact that he should have been arrested a couple days earlier could have prevented all of this is nuts, bro. That's nuts, bro. But we out.